And I guess my question is the White House interested in these answers? Are they concerned about the answers?
Oh, they most certainly are. And from the early days after October 7th, U.S. officials made it very clear that they wanted to know just what went wrong. And this is so devastating for Prime Minister Netanyahu, who really billed himself as the national security prime minister. And it's both complacency, but also being distracted. That Netanyahu's focus was on the West Bank. He just redeployed 2 commando units, the IDF did, in the days before the attack, because Netanyahu was placating his political base, his coalition government of these extreme right-wing settlers in the West Bank. That's where he wanted his focus. And he certainly didn't put his focus on a 2-state solution. And that, Mika, is at the heart of the frustration and rising frustration that the White House has with Netanyahu, that he has not given license to this support, that they feel like a 2-state solution is essential for peace and stability in the region, as is, Admiral Stavridis, the idea that Israel shouldn't be part of a Gaza occupation whenever the war does come. The White House has been so clear about that, and Netanyahu seemingly not listening. And this comes at a difficult moment where we're seeing tensions rise in the Red Sea. The U.S. is taking more aggressive action to ward off these Houthi rebels. They're leaning on Israel to be more targeted in their strikes of Gaza. It depends on the day whether Israel seems to be listening there or not. But it does seem like that though Netanyahu has become an unreliable partner, the U.S. feels he's not going anywhere, at least for now. So the U.S. has to be able to manage this. How do you think they can?
First and foremost, let me go to the sea for a moment and what's happening in the Red Sea. This is big casino for the global economy, frankly. This Red Sea is the size of the state of California. It lies right under the Suez Canal. And so far, the Houthi rebels, who are completely creatures of Iran, trained, equipped, organized, ordered, much like Hamas is, these Houthi rebels are actually creating the conditions in which the big shipping companies are simply not going through there. This is like closing the Suez Canal. Now, we're not there yet, but you could see the outlines of a real blow to the global economy because 15, 20% of the world's shipping passes through the Red Sea. So yes, we have to continue to work with our friends, partners, and allies in the region. That's Israel, but it's also the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, as well as our NATO allies who are all engaged in the maritime side of this. Going back to land for a minute, what I worry about, Jonathan, here are 2 things. One is tactical from the report. Back to Mika's excellent questions. How could this happen? Another part of it we haven't touched on is no plan, no training, no sense of practicing to respond to this. That's pretty remarkable because that's what militaries do. They build plans that mirror what their enemies might do, then they train against them. To me, the most striking thing in the New York Times reporting was the lack of any kind of planning, training, or exercising. As Mika said, soldiers just making stuff up. That just hurts your heart as a military professional. You can't conceive of that. And then secondly, at the strategic level, what this does, and this is what would keep me awake at night if I were an Israeli in my bed, is that deterrence is shattered. The opponents see this weakness. Hezbollah says, The Houthis say, Iran says, Deterrence, if not shattered, is certainly deeply weakened here. Those are big concerns. The U.S. needs to stand with Israel in this time, but we have a very troubled partner leading that nation.
Retired Admiral James Stavridis, thank you very much for coming on. Happy New Year. We're glad to have you this coming year in the months to come as we cover this story and this question.